Hey guys, and welcome back to Tales from Anvil, the podcast where we share stories, insights, and adventures from the world of Empire LARP. Whether you're a seasoned citizen of the Empire, someone who's just thinking about giving LARP a try, or someone who has no idea what any of that actually means, you're welcome here.
Each episode, we're going to be diving into our own experiences at Empire LARP, whether they're good, bad, or wildly indifferent and fun. And every now and again, we're going to have guests on to share their stories as well. It's going to be fun.
So think of this as pulling up the chair by the virtual campfire. Grab a drink, get comfortable, and welcome
to Tales from Anvil.
Woo.
How was
pretty
that?
good.
That
was pretty good.
One of the most professional intros we've done.
Yeah, that was great.
So this is our lovely guest. Of no one of importance, really. No.
Just some guy.
Just some guy. Welcome, Rosa. Your character is, we have this sorted out.
Emperor Vesna Brokovna Peroknost.
The Hearthkeeper. Come on, Cian. We had this planned.
Crowned in Thunder.
Ossium's architect.
And Warden, Queen of Dawn, as of E2. Welcome to Tales from Anvil.
Why did you give me the name? I butchered that. I am so sorry. Like, halfway through, my mouth went, nope.
I sent a pronunciation guide.
I read it.
Copied it. I've copied the pronunciation into the thing.
Yeah. They got it wrong at the coronation.
Borkovna Peroknost.
Yeah, Borkovna Proknost.
Proknost. Right.
Is it said with like a proc, like a rolling R?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I was expecting you to have a longer title, like proper Daenerys Targaryen, go on for about 5 minutes.
Scourge of the Druge, fleeing against the Valorn.
Okay, good.
I mean, I think at this point you could probably add Scourge of the Druge. I don't think it's too soon. I don't think it's too soon.
I have a rule of I can't give myself one. It has to be something that somebody else has called me.
You've heard it here first, guys. Scourge of the Druge.
Okay, I'll add that. That's next Imperial address.
I feel like when the Druge die, though, which could be soon.
Oh, they're on the way out. It's fine.
On the way out.
We're not jinxing it here for them to have a resurgence. Don't be silly.
Oh.
Yeah. Once they're gone. Maybe I'll add that. You don't want to count your chickens.
That's right.
So I mean, for our listeners,
go on, Kim.
What are you?
What are you? ICROC.
I see. I don't really care.
No one cares. No one cares.
Harsh, but true.
I see. So I play Vesna, who she's a Varushkan warden. She was formerly Senator for Ossium, and for the last 2.5 years, that's a really long time. She's been the Emperor of the Empire.
For the Empire, damn.
So yeah, she was elected throne. So she's the sort of head of state, which sort of has a selection of powers, and the main goal is to sort of be the main goal of the role as written, or at least sort of how I've interpreted it, is that they're supposed to be this inspirational rallying figure, but also they're supposed to sort of collectively set the direction that the Empire is supposed to be going in, because they're the only title that has authority in all bodies of state. So that gives sort of them the ability to set a direction, set policy in that sort of universal way, and to sort of keep the Empire on track, whilst also sort of attempting to be this inspirational figure that people can draw from. And I think that's sort of like a brief summary of the job. It's a real gnarly job.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's interesting because like you always, like, I know for myself, I'm sure a lot of other people, we see the Emperor, the throne, and think the boss. But like, it is true that, like, with the wins that you can send out, and like the addresses you can give, you are very much also just like an inspiration to the IC players as to what the Empire should be like striving for. But to be fair, you said you've been Emperor, you've been the throne for 2.5 years. How long have you been playing Empire, and like what was it that got you into LARPing?
So, okay, I'm going to try and count. So I started in 2019, then there was the COVID period for about 2 years. And then, so I played for 3 years before I became Throne. And then, I'm coming up to I'm around my 6th year of playing. Empire. What got me into LARPing? It's borderline embarrassing. But I was in my my university LARP society. I did Vampire for.
Ooh.
Yeah, Vampire.
Yeah, I really want to do Vampire at some point.
Yeah, nothing to be embarrassed about. I know a lot of people are. It's probably I think it's probably might be the most popular LARP in the UK at least, in terms of people who play it.
I think it's really good. University Vampire LARPs are LARPing finishing schools, and I controversially believe that people should have to do at least a year in a uni Vampire LARP, because it really it teaches you it teaches you LARP politics, but it also is a really nice sort of safe, controlled environment where you can pick up good habits and work bad habits out. So it teaches you about things like bleed and things like that. So I think it's a really, really good place to start. And sort of I'm a bit anomalous because I didn't do any I didn't really do tabletop role playing or anything like that before I sort of just jumped straight into the deep end to do LARP, and I sort of got into it. I'm from a theatre kid background, not an RPG background.
the two routes into LARPing.
Yeah. So what was
I'm
main,
surprised
what was
not more theatre kids.
Yeah. So what was Rosa?
Yeah.
What was the main pull for of Empire then? So you played Vampire, and what was the jump? What was the kind of driving force behind Empire and making that choice? Did you have friends already playing that system or this system, or what was the kind of route to it?
So it's less of a thing now, but there was at the time, specifically my uni LARP society, there was a little bit of a pipeline where we had people who were already playing. We had some really serious Empire veterans who'd been playing from the first year who would constantly be talking about how great it was. So it was sort of inevitable that we would all just get very excited and decide to go.
Not to use a very disgusting term, but it was just grooming young LARPers. Come to Empire, it's great.
Don't use that term.
I would not personally use that term.
Yeah, that's been cut in the edit. That's been cut immediately. Yeah.
But then our little sort of cohort, there was a little group of us who decided to go and go as a little group, and I think there were 8 of us who decided to go as a little squad, and most of us still play. And initially I didn't want to play in Vorishka, I wanted to play in the league, but I got outvoted, and I'm very glad that I did, because it is the best nation. I'm sorry. It is
not the most glorious stuff.
Yeah. Dan was about to say something, that realised the two of us would just shout him down again.
Yeah.
I get outnumbered all the time, mate. So don't worry about it. Shout from the rooftop.
I'm basically Dawnish now.
Exactly. I mean, tactically, rules as written, you are.
I'm Dawnish on a technicality.
Outnumbered 3-1, Dan.
I know, yeah. It's fine. I might not like this episode as much as
But that was how I got into it, and I really, really I really loved it. Weirdly, I had a reputation for playing big sort of political characters at my uni Vampire LARP, and when I came to Empire, I was like, I'm just not going to do politics at Empire. I'm not going to do it. That's not what I'm here for. I'm going to just drink and fight and have a good time. And then.
So how many events did that last?
I think it lasted less than 24 hours.
Oh.
I think I was proxy senator by the end of my first event.
Amazing.
Fair.
Yeah.
Excellent.
What was the timeline from proxy senator at your first event to becoming the throne? And also, how do you become the throne?
So, the way that you become the throne is anyone can stand for it, but they have to be nominated by a senator. and it's a constitutional vote. So the Senate votes on it, and you have to get a 2/3 majority of the senators. If it's not just a case of who gets the most people in their line, it has to cross over a certain margin, which makes it really difficult. It's very difficult to get over that line, and I think the last throne race lasted, I think about 3 years ish.
Damn.
Maybe a little bit less. From sort of start to finish. The timeline of me becoming throne is I sort of went into it, and I decided pretty early on that I wanted to be a senator. So I was proxy senator for 4 out of the 5 Varushkan territories for like a year. And that sort of got my foot in the door. And then my second year in play, I became senator for Ossium. And we'd only had Ossium for a year at that point. So I was the second ever senator for Ossium. And it was a relatively new territory, and it needed a lot of work to be built up. And so I was devoting a lot of time over that 2-year period to doing that, and that was for a really long time I thought that was going to be like the most impressive thing I did, because I built a lot of things, and it was so much fun. But then the throne race sort of started it really started heating up properly, and I don't want to go into sort of the nitty-gritty of the politics like too much, because every single, like, if you ask anyone who was at like any senator or anyone who was involved in any of the throne campaigns about what happened and how it went, they're going to have a different story, because it's, there's a million different pieces. But from where I was sat, and I'd been involved in a couple of throne campaigns for other candidates previously, and I noticed that effectively we'd sort of hit a bit of a deadlock, and that there were a couple of candidates who were doing well but had sort of consistently not been able to get over the threshold to win. And I'd sworn, and I said I wasn't going to do it, because I really enjoy sort of lying to myself. But Varushka was getting quite sort of excitable, and a couple people in Nation were really asking me to, give it a go, because we didn't really have a candidate at that point. So I think the year that I won it, I started my throne campaign, and I didn't really have a team behind me for most of my campaign, but I started campaigning on the Sunday of E2. I launched it, but that was kind of like privately, sort of, whispering in people's ears, trying to get a base established. I launched properly at E3 and spent a lot of E3 campaigning, and then E4 we won it, which I was not expecting.
So two summits, and you were voted in.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, it was a real speed run that that nobody was expecting, least of all me. It was like, I thought I was in with a shot, because you don't run if you don't think you're in with a shot. But I wasn't expecting sort of how quickly it would fall into part. And there were lots of different...
I'm not gonna lie. We wrote this question like, how long was the path to becoming emperor? We were like, oh, this is gonna be like a multi-year thing. 2 events.
Not really, even. Really just one event, because you said it was Sunday E3 or E2.
Sunday E2. Yeah. So it was a bit of a speed run, and like the problem was I'd booked onto all of these player events, thinking I was going to have to spend the entire Long Dark like campaigning, and then I was like, oh,
in the bag.
Oh dang! And
Put my feet up.
Yeah, I won the Sunday, the final Sunday Senate session of that E4, and then it was just a really mental Long Dark. And I think I want to talk about sort of how it went down in the room as my tale from Anvil, so I won't go I won't go into it too much. But yeah, it was not it was short, and God, this sounds like bragging. It is a little bit, but like we we did manage to win on our first go, which was really cool and took a lot of pressure off.
I mean, not just winning on your first go, winning on a summit and a half. It sounds like I think you're allowed to brag. Like how again, I'm only a relatively new player. Like E4 last year was my first event. Have we only? I thought from my knowledge, we've only had like what 2 or 3 like player thrones.
So there was me and there was Lizabetta.
So literally 2.
Yeah.
I think you're allowed to brag. I don't think anyone's gonna have a go at you for that.
But it's also extremely inspirational. So that if there are any people out there who are new to this game, who are new to Empire, you can do a lot in a short space of time.
Oh, yeah.
Please don't think you're limited or you're going to get outshone by people who have been there longer.
Also, let's not build up false expectations here. Get to know people for like 2 years, and then you can do it in a short space of time.
Also, there is one limiting factor at the moment, which is Vesna's still alive.
Yes, that is a problem.
True, yeah.
So in my first year of play, Lizabetta died.
Damn.
Or went into the Night Realm. So the timing was good. Like I think that like to establish it, there were so many amazing throne candidates, and I think any one of them would have been fabulous. And loads of people like really, really brought their A game. And like there's always an element of luck with these things, and I'll sort of talk about it in the room that there was an element of luck in my election. So I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but I mean,
this is why we have this show. You're allowed to come on here and talk yourself up. It's fine.
So just a quick one. So how does it work? Do you have to be re-elected yearly? Is it every summit you have to be re-elected, or once you've got the throne, that's it until you either step down or
suffer an accident?
Yeah. Go to another place. Let's kind of put it in a different way.
Go to live on the farm upstate.
The title has tenure, which means it's not subject to re-election, just because of how like the process of electing a throne takes 3 years. It would be you'd never. Also, it would make the job impossible if you had to constantly stand for re-election because it's so big and the scope is so wide. I'm sure this isn't going to be news to any of you guys, but like you will piss some people off.
Oh yeah.
Like,
what? No.
Yeah, what? There is like for anyone who's thinking of like getting this job after I'm dead and they think I'm not going to ever piss anyone off. You will piss people off because you have to make choices, and the choices of the game are designed to piss people off, and you can't do that with the level of scrutiny that the job comes with if you have to keep getting re-elected. So you can get rid of a throne without killing them. So they are revocable by the General Assembly.
Okay, I didn't know
a throne
that.
can be revoked. In the historical records, there has been one throne who's been revoked. It's very difficult to revoke a throne because the throne has a specific power, which means that they can make any judgment in the synod require a greater majority. And they can use that as many times as they want. So
I always thought it was like a one-time use.
No, I could walk into the hub and go, everything needs a greater majority. If I really
are the US.
Yeah, if I really hated,
you're going to retire the character. It's your last summit. Just walk in and go, guys, every single vote.
I wouldn't do that to the Tribune because I like them very much, but so the assumption, and this is not like a statement on anything that my character would necessarily do, but the assumption is that a throne would put that power custodian of virtue on a revocation, and at that point it needs a greater majority in the General Assembly, which means it needs like several hundred priests voting in favor,
right?
Which is tricky.
So what you're saying is somebody needs to convince the synod that you are a heretic, and then it might go through.
I mean, I think assassination would be easier at that point.
Maybe. I mean, at that point, possibly.
Yeah.
Like, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. Like it's.
I mean, I
just
remember...
out of curiosity, and for apropos of nothing, how many hits does the throne currently have?
A lot.
I assumed.
It's like every like. Oh, this is you can cut this if it's sort of going out the way, but every Thursday night at Empire, when I go to the loo, somebody tells me that they're totally definitely going to assassinate me, or that they definitely heard that someone was going to assassinate me, and it's like I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna break OPSEC and tell people what she's got, but like, she's got the third guard, she's got potions, she's got some magical items. She's, it's not as easy as people.
Yeah, I could fully imagine that by the time you get to Emperor, you're like, okay, every single skill point going into endurance.
Yeah.
I will say,
you can take me down.
I do remember.
If you fucking try.
I do remember a situation where you were in the glory square, and all your throne guard were watching you, and not the very angry Daunish crowd around you.
Mm.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is if they're watching me because I'm the person they have to watch out for. Like, if they've got their back turned, someone on the other side of the giant Dornish crowd is gonna make a go at it. Like, they're very good, those guys. Like, I'm a stan of my own throne guard. They're very talented.
I was aware they existed, but Throne Guard, I'm assuming, are they like a multi-nation group? Do you pick them? Is it a thing you can like aspire to join?
So there is an imperial title called Captain of the Throne Guard that is currently held by Florian von Temeschoir, who's played by my friend Clem, and the Captain of the Throne Guard is appointed by the throne, but the Throne Guard are all appointed by the Captain. And so it's absolutely something that people can join. We regularly sort of accept new people. There's an audition process, and that's sort of we see how well people can fight, because it's a martial title. And then we also do an in-depth religious check, a background check, and a vibe check, because like they're the people I spend my whole event with. Like, I see them more than my own boyfriend. Like, they're like so people can absolutely join the Throne Guard. It pays very well, in my opinion.
Really? Okay.
It's
Both
about
immediately me and Kian go like, new ambition.
It's about 2 crowns an hour.
2 crowns an
£2
hour?
an hour.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You can tell we're all very poor.
I know, yeah, an hour. Jesus Christ! I'll just freelance.
To be fair,
like, a few hours an event.
The next question is this the sort of role where you have to spend every hour of every day of the event in full, like, hard kit? Because if so, I don't think I could do that.
So you get paid by the hour. So, I mean, some people do longer shifts, and some people do shorter shifts, and you obviously get paid more if you do longer shifts.
Interesting.
I think you get a bonus if you... I don't know, because I'm not in charge of the paying the Throne Guard, but I think you get a bonus if you have to sit through a Senate session.
I mean, they should, right?
I think they should. I think
that's fair. That seems very fair.
Yeah.
Suddenly, El Reyes may be reconsidering his goals in life.
There's prosperity. Pay people. Like, they do They do an amazing job. That, like, it's... I'm just going to really toot their horns now, but like, it's a very, like, what they could very easily just sort of cover me in cotton wool and like not let anyone get anywhere near me, but that's kind of lame for me. And I find that they really they sort of walk the line very well between like letting me engage with people and play the game and be dynamic, but also making I always feel very safe.
That's good.
Excellent.
Legitimately,
So
I'm
we
sad.
kill
I don't
the
know
Throne Guard first.
Yeah.
Then
I don't know about Hadrian, but I do know that Al Reyes' whole thing is about protecting people, and now it's like, is the coin enough to pull him away from helping on the skirmishes?
You can still do skirmishes.
Interesting.
So it's interesting to me that, like, obviously you've got a load of people around you, and you just mentioned, and we kind of said it a bit tongue in cheek, like when you go to the toilet, there's people always going, "Oh, just watch yourself in case anything happens." But like, how much time would you say per event do you get to actually enjoy yourself? Like, that isn't just throne duties, or are you like, as soon as you clock in, time in, that is it? You're on the clock. You're the emperor until time out. There's no time to kind of sit and just go and have a little bit of fun in your own camp, kind of thing.
No, none at all.
Nothing like
that.
Like
my event schedule is broken down into sort of 10-minute intervals.
Damn.
And everything gets filled. I don't I don't really go to the loo during time in because it's really embarrassing. Because
I think you just raised more questions.
No, well, because like I might ask you to cut this, but if I'm in the loo, all of the throne guard are stood outside, so everyone knows.
Is somebody walking past one or two?
Yeah, it's really bad. So I don't really. So no, I have my day starts pretty much at time in. It's back-to-back meetings, pretty much. So like sometimes I'll go to the hub, and then I finish normally on a Friday like at 1 a.m. And then on
just in time to hit the club tents.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the biggest amount of downtime I get is Gin Palace, Ginspirations, on a Saturday night, which is like, oh, it sounds so. I've lost touch with the common man, but it's a members club in Urs.
I was gonna say
it's a members only. Okay.
I think you're talking to two people from Dawn. There's a lot of like fucking noble only or invite only clubs going on in Dawn. I know.
Yeah.
I've heard of like a wine meeting where it's literally invite only. They turn up and they enjoy glasses of wine.
Yeah.
Like,
Whereas I'm Navari, we just get pissed in the streets. Like,
no, our first guest did like mention that was her favorite bar, and I was just like, oh, okay, I'll have to go visit it someday. It's like, no, clearly we wouldn't be allowed in.
It is. I believe it's invite only. But it's sort of it's a part of the sort of infrastructure. It's where all the bigwigs hang out, I guess. I suppose.
We've had an OC invite. Now we need to get an IC invite.
yeah.
So new ambition, get to that fucking bar.
I'm giving them free promo now. Like it's run by the House of the Wanderer. They're great.
To be fair, it's a very common question we ask our guests, which is like, which is their? It's actually, I think it might be in our like quick fire round later. Is which is your favorite bar? So
yeah,
it's not the first time it's been asked.
Just a quick question. Is there, because again, you hear rumors of certain plans that PD put in place in terms of like building infrastructure over the long term. Do you have like your own like tent set up? Like, is there a throne room kind of thing?
So there's the Imperial offices, which was introduced by Lizabetta, which is a tent where
that's the one where they get physical throne sets, isn't it?
No, that's Senate.
Oh, that's in Senate, sorry.
Yeah. But we have a bunch of furniture for that, and that's sort of where we conduct businesses. So that's where I'll like organize my meetings and things like that. So that's the closest thing we have. It's kind of fancy. We have like portraits on the walls and all of the cabinet, if they remember, bring a portrait of themselves to hang on the wall. So.
Oh, nice.
But that's something you guys have done, not PD.
So PD supply the tent.
Okay.
PD supply the tent. It was introduced IC as a piece of infrastructure by Lizabetta, and Roz, very kind, like Roz, who played Lizabetta, the only other sort of PC Empress who was that before me, very generously bought and donated a tremendous amount of set dressing to the Imperial offices. She's really incredible, and so we use that. So it's sort of half done by PD, half done by us.
Yeah, and just to be clear, because I don't think we've met it, and it is something that's a bit confusing at times. You're not like an NPC.
No.
You're like you are. This is fully a player. Rosa, not Rosa. You're Rosa. Vesna is fully a playable player character. Yeah,
100% player character. 100%. There are. I don't have any more sort of access to PD or access to plot or any more behind the scenes woo than you guys have. 100% PC. I have access to all the same levers theoretically that everybody else has, and
I think this is something that came up in some of the Discord chat recently, which is like some new players came in and they didn't realize, because they've read up on the wiki and stuff. They didn't realize like a lot of these like named positions, whether it's the throne, the senates, the generals, all of these are players. Like the only, as far as I'm aware, the only sort of NPCs that ever get introduced are heralds, and occasionally people on skirmishes who sometimes will come and visit Anvil, but like
And magistrates.
Yeah, so like 99% of the people are players.
Yeah. So and there are some like the civil service are NPCs, but they have sashes and an earpiece and things like that. But if it's an imperial title, it's no, they're a PC. I'm a PC. I don't get any special treatment.
And does that come with its own challenges then? Like, I would imagine that do you get challenged a lot? I see with people kind of having the assumption that you might have a bit of a peek behind the curtain and demanding answers that you might not have, which then can cause either friction or challenging gameplay at times.
So I think the bigger thing is more so the Throne is a very interesting one, and I think it's a very unique title in that it's so big and covers so much of the game and has so much scope that it will affect most, like the things the Throne does will affect most sort of players who are sort of engaged, and that is more so than like any senator or general would. And that can lead to a bit of sort of NPCification. So people, I find, less assume that I have sort of access that I don't, but more sort of assume. I think people do sometimes forget that I'm a player as well, and you know I'm here for my experience, and I'm here to play the game to suit my ends as well, and that can sometimes be difficult, and it can get slightly parasocial, I think. So sometimes people, because they're aware of the character that you play, and the character that you play is a big figure in the game that they really like and care about, they can get an idea that like they know, like that they know the character or that they know you, OC, and that's a bit weird. It's I think the closest I'm ever going to get to feeling famous. It's really weird. Like I've occasionally like bumped into people, and once they've figured out, like being recognized by face is really weird. People don't sort of prep you for that. It's really weird. And then
this isn't like, we're not talking like someone like everyone in knows who we are, but literally me and Cian had this at E2 where I stepped out of my tent. I saw two guys stood sort of like 20-30 yards away, and I thought they were like looking past me. They looked a little bit lost. They like pointed at me. They pointed in towards Anvil. They pointed at me again. I was like, oh, these guys are just looking for directions. And they were like, are you one of the hosts from Tales of Anvil? I was like, fuck yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Cian, listeners.
Yeah, but like someone recognized me and like started like jumping up and down. They were so excited, and I was like, "This is so."
Oh, that's nice.
That's so lovely. But
that's very cute.
I'm here with my pint, and I'm sort of.
I assume this wasn't in Anvil.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was. Okay,
but
okay.
I have been.
Pretending
I've occasionally
that the Throne's not allowed to drink.
I've occasionally been. I got stopped at a coffee shop once. OC when I was sort of with a friend. I was at a Korean restaurant and someone recognized me, so it's really odd. And then no one's been
props to those people with like that level of like facial recognition, because I do struggle with people when they're not in costume.
Yeah. No, and look, they were all perfectly lovely about it. Like, no shade to those people. It's just kind of weird because I'm not actually famous or important.
Hey, Cian has lots of different levels. We hosted podcasts talking about LARP and people recognized us. If that's not the saddest thing in the world, I don't know what is.
I just need to figure out a way to monetize it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, just commission your own IC coin.
Yeah.
Get your face put on a coin there.
If Anvil was a town, it would be 4 times bigger than my town. So, like, it's not tiny.
No.
I mean, also, your town is in Ireland, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
This is true. What was our next question?
Political for a second.
Like, yeah.
I'm English. I'm staying in my lane.
The next question, Cian, was advice for anyone who's aiming.
Oh yeah. So my character is really ambitious. Is going to very much once he becomes Earl, he's going to want what's next. So he's going to want all your positions. How do we do that? How do we get to Emperor?
Okay. Ooh, I'm gonna sort of give like half IC, half OC advice. This is just like sort of my take is I think become known to the senators.
Okay.
Because they're the ones who elect the role. Sort of emotionally.
We should clarify for Hadrian's benefit here. This means in a good way.
Okay. Don't be mean to senators. Cool.
Don't be mean to senators. Be uncontroversial. At least initially. You have to like do only good things that everyone likes. Going in, don't make any enemies. Get your nation on side. That's maybe the most important one.
I think most of your enemies are in Dawn.
As long as you've got your nation senators on
side. For Hadrian, I'm talking. Man, there's a Hadrian. Most of your enemies are in Dawn. You're fucked.
And don't stand right away. That's my niche little. You want to get a lay of the land before you throw your hat in the ring. I don't think. Yeah, that's my. Those are sort of my general bits of advice. But my big thing is to sort of be well known and have some accomplishments under your belt and make those connections, because a lot of it's like I would say a tremendous amount of Empire politics is networking, and getting to know people and forming those sort of bonds of trust and sort of showing people how competent you are. That's, I think, a good first step.
Yeah, I'm about to do my first politicking next event, which I'm running for KP of summer. So, which is just an election, but Dawnish. So we hit
I was going
to
say, it's in a very Dawnish tradition. It's just a fight.
It's just a fight. Yeah. But like my entire Friday is just going to be going around going, hey, are you supporting anyone for KP? Why not Hadrian? That is
why not?
Why not?
That's very much his political stance. I was like, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
It might work. Probably not. But
if you have a solid pitch and a solid base,
that is his pitch. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Why not?
I've heard worse pitches.
Who else were you going to fight for anyway?
Yeah. Oh, you weren't going to fight? Okay, that's boring. Go fight.
Go fight.
Oh, you're not able to fight? That doesn't matter.
Just you stand at the side.
Yeah.
Make our side look bigger. But
exactly.
To be fair, I think it's like that's a lot of like the big questions we had asked. We do have a little round of quick fire questions that we will get to. But is there anything like in this role that you'd like to talk about, or that any it doesn't have to be, I'm just throwing this at you, but is there just anything that you would want to talk about from this role, something that you would like to share with people as being the throne, the Emperor?
Oh, it's very, very full on. Obviously, it takes up a tremendous amount of your time. But like, honestly, it's the coolest. It's the coolest job in UK LARP. And like, even when I hate it, I think I've made a terrible mistake, which happens sometimes. I sort of something really cool will happen, like the Monarch of Dawn tourney.
So cool.
Or like I'll give a really good speech, or I'll finish building an army, or like a policy that I've been working on for ages sort of comes off, and then I'm like, oh,
this is why I do it.
This is sick. Yeah, like actually, it's really sick. I feel like I feel like a big protagonist. It's great.
I'm the main character.
No, I'm not the main character. Everyone's the main character.
Some people are more main character than others.
Some people are the main character in a better story, is what we're saying.
Yeah, like what I've really loved is sort of the ability to shape policy, because being the throne, actually, it's very interesting. People often simultaneously assume that you can do like both more and less than you actually can. So the throne can't raise Senate motions. They can't raise a Senate motion, so theoretically they can't build anything themselves. They can't force an army to do anything without taking it off them. So like kind of all of the throne's powers are sort of inherently negative in a way. Which means that it's like something I sort of ran into early on was I was like, it's actually really difficult for me to, like, I know I'm doing these things, but it's very difficult for me to get my name on them because, like...
You're just in the background that somebody else has to put it forward.
Yeah, and like I'm pushing it and I'm making all the wheels turn and I'm giving a speech about it, but like PD don't hear your speeches. So like it was my big concern with the decision to go full throttle on the Druge because, and again, this is sort of my perspective. Other people might disagree with that, and that's fine. But like one of the platforms that Vesna ran on was, we need to do one thing really well, as opposed to trying to do everything subparly. And we should pick a priority. And that was one of the things that she ran on. And she had a big discussion with her cabinet about what that military priority would be. And that was, really, really detailed. And we decided, to go for the Druge. And then that took a lot of work to launch. It took a lot of political maneuvering. It took a lot of trying to get generals on side, both generals who were sort of inherently for it and generals who wouldn't be because, we're sort of asking the West, the Jotun front.
Defending it?
A little,
fight,
not quite forgo to defending it, but sort of go, this is the number one priority and you're not it. Yeah. And it was very much trying to phrase that as and push that forward and also mitigate that to go that doesn't mean, we're hanging you out to dry. Here's how we're going to back you up whilst we're making this push. And that took a lot of political sort of maneuvering. And I was kind of worried because the main currency at Empire is credit. And I was very worried that people are only going to see, I vetoed this thing, I took this army off this person. I was worried that people would only see, things that I'd done that had pissed people off. Because the throne's powers are inherently pissing people off. Because it's always blocking things. And we managed to get around that. So, we've really put... and the Imperial Address is a big way of doing that because it's a really good way of sort of televising what you're doing. So our big push has been militarization, economic reform, and destroying the Druge. And those have been sort of the big things that we've been pushing. And, I've been building armies using Hand of the Chancellor and things like that. And we managed to turn it around, but it's a really interesting one because it's quite difficult it's very difficult to communicate that that's what you're doing, and that you are pushing the direction of the Empire, you are doing this thing, you are building these armies, and people, I guess, always sort of expect to see more from you because of the sort of nature of the title, but they don't necessarily know the intricate sort of political constitutional nuts and bolts that go into it, which means that you can do certain things and you can't do others. And then people make things up. The number of titles I've heard that I think I heard somebody, oh God, what was it? Somebody said that that Vesna had overturned a militia she'd called off a militia investigation into something or other using the power of veto. And I was like, that's not...
Can you even do that?
No.
I can't do this.
That's not something... That's not something I can do. And I feel normally I wouldn't dispute, I wouldn't go on a podcast and say, this was right and this was wrong. But, it's on the wiki. There's a list of powers on the wiki and that's not on there.
Yeah.
Also,
look,
taking...
If you ever want a podcast to go on to and set this record straight, we'll have you on whenever.
Oh my God.
Just fucking call people out.
It's really funny. I hear so many rumors about what my character's doing. It's really funny. Some of my favorites. Vesna started. There was an assassination attempt against Vesna, so Vesna formed a leaguish death squad and marched around Anvil hunting them down. That didn't happen.
But it should have done, because that would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
No one's ever tried to kill her. Maybe if they do, I'll form up that death squad. But we've had 0 assassination attempts.
Seriously?
None.
Is this you've had 0 assassination attempts, or they've just been so bad that the throne guard was like, stop?
If you have attempted to assassinate my character and I don't know about it, no, you haven't attempted to assassinate my character. Like, I should at least know that you're trying. Like, if you get foiled before I find out about it, then you didn't really try. Your heart wasn't in it.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, I have heard people going up to you with spoons. Like, this might be another rumor, but I've heard that some people have like gone right up to like prove that your Throne Guard are doing well enough, like snuck past them and like got a spoon to your neck.
I'm so sorry. That's not true. That never happened. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's fake.
It was a fork.
It was a fork.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. No one's ever got past the throne. Like, no one has ever gotten past the throne guard. It's just not happened.
Yeah.
No, like sometimes.
I'm kidding. I'm messing.
Like sometimes, like, oh God, do you remember the peg game? There was a game where people used to like try and put pegs on people.
Oh, okay. Pegs without them knowing
that makes
about
more sense.
it.
Yeah,
the peg game. And occasionally,
I don't know if
like,
anyone else just saw what Kian did, but I did, and no.
No. Yeah.
Different game, Kian. Different game.
Yeah.
So I think once during the coronation procession, somebody got a peg on me, and the throne guard were like, because the coronation procession was a huge, sort of packed out thing, and the throne guard saw it happen and were like, we could kick this person and like make a big thing of it and disrupt the procession, or we could just let them put the peg on and then immediately take the peg off. So like sometimes the throne guard are like, it is not worth our trouble to keep this person in the leg. But no, there's been no one with weird intent. Like, no one's ever tested them, and they've not. I feel like I've spent this entire podcast episode just defending the throne guard, but I will. They're great.
Again, they brought you on. You can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah.
But no, the rumors that I hear about my character are truly that like secret weddings. If you've heard any and you want them, like, you want me to say yay or nay, like, I'll like.
We're gonna make it a feature in the future. Just any listeners out there, if you've heard a weird rumor, write in. We'll put them to Vesna, and at the end of every episode, we'll fact check them for you.
That was such a cool segment. Thanks, Rosa, for tying yourself to this in perpetuity. Thank you so much.
Somebody there was one I heard on the. I think a friend of mine heard on the coach that someone was like, Vesna put her soul in a jar, and like, and I don't know where that came from.
Half of Dawn did so.
Oh yeah. So I think that must have been where it came from. But they were like, Vesna put her soul in a jar, and I was
why
like,
would you weren't like allowed to take part in the combat?
No, it
why
was
would
just
you?
for the love of the game. Like, just love having my soul in a jar. Like, it's just...
especially after again, I don't know if this is a rumor, but it was something that would like. I'm pretty sure I saw like an actual post about it, but I'm pretty sure you said that doing that was going to be considered illegal as well. So why would you do it?
Oh yeah, so it was illegal.
Yeah.
Up until like midday Saturday, at which point they sped run it through the Constitutional Court to say it was fine with consent.
Yeah, it's all right.
But it was so it was in Earl's Council, a bunch of people were like, will you give us the special Empress clemency if we do this? And Vesna is part of the Varushkan brief is being very into the law, and Vesna was like, no. She was like, no, because I can't, like, I can't condone you lovely people ripping your souls out of your body and also committing a crime. Like, these are two things that is really, really frowned upon in Varushka. So I really can't condone it. And then it was made, and then it sort of became apparent to her that people were going to do it anyway. And she was like, I'm not gonna like encourage this or give you clemency, but I can't stop.
Other people, like, there weren't hundreds lined up to do
this. I
can't
rugby tackle all these priests. Like, I don't have.
It was very much a discussion that was like going on in various discourse to be like, I mean, what is Vesna going to do? Arrest several hundred nobles?
Sorry, I'm putting you under a citizen's arrest.
Yeah.
Like,
it was fun though.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
The Monarch of Dawn tourney was really so much fun. I really loved it. I'm gutted I couldn't fight.
You could have Black Knighted.
No, it was in the. I asked.
Did you?
I did.
The
I
hearth
asked,
magic wouldn't apply because you're not Dawnish.
because she's not Dawnish. So they'd be like,
shame.
"That's Vesna in a wig."
I know for a fact because I made that joke in a Discord and I was corrected.
It's also the Varushkan hearth magic is also very different to the Dawnish hearth magic.
Yeah.
So in Varushka, if you are obscuring your identity in any way, that's face peeler behavior. That's
Yeah.
a
Okay.
monster. That's sus. So it's not something that she'd really super get behind.
I just wanted it for like the old 90s sitcom bit to be like, Vesna, where were you? The battle took place on your behalf and you weren't even here. And then Pan, you looking at the camera going, or was I? That was the entire reason for doing it.
I was Rydian Durandal, actually.
That explains a lot. Yeah.
I've never seen him fight so well.
I do weapons practice with Rydian's player, and they walk me like a dog. It's mortifying, and I'm quite good. Like I practice very regularly, and then I go to Glasgow, and they absolutely trounce me.
Rydian's one of the people I'm going to try and convince to join my side for Night Protector because I know they're pretty good. So I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Okay, let's do this.
Greatest living knight. That's what I heard. It's on the wiki, so it must be true.
It's on the wiki, so it has to be true.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Cass seems lovely.
I did get a telling off from him at E2 because it just by pure chance, our lance ended up being like the first one to leave the Glory Square as we were like parading to the Sunday major conjunction, and he was like stood in front of me, and like one of my like favorite things in my character is just like being loud and yelling and like doing the whole like make way for Dawn, make way for. And there was like a couple of people crossing in front of the street right as we were leaving. So I yelled, make way for Dawn. Did not realize because they were fully obscured by the adult, but there was like two children that they were like leading across the road. And like
you're not a nice person, Jordan.
And, to be fair, like I wasn't being like mean. I was just like, I wasn't like shouting, get the fuck out of the way. I was just like, make way for Dawn, like announcing them. And then like when we saw the two kids really turn around and was like, did you have to yell at the children? I was like, well, it's half the fun. Like,
you heard it here first. That's the podcast down the Swan.
Nice. Hey,
cancelled.
I'll not try walk this back. I'll yell at kids, and I'll enjoy it.
Oh, so questions.
Yeah.
So quick questions.
Yeah. Before it derails entirely, let's get into the quick fire questions. So, we have a list of questions which we sort out through our many communities that we're all part of. There are 28 in total. However, you don't have to answer all of them. If you don't want to answer the question, just say pass. We move on to the next question. They're supposed to, and the design to be quick fire questions. We don't need any like mad in depth like of answer to each one. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Editor Dan, put in a nice question time with Vesna across the screen. Nice. Okay, right, let's go. Do people treat you differently, OC?
Yes. Very much so.
Next question.
Would you take the same path if you could do a do-over?
Yeah. I'm having a good time.
Good. What is something you wish people knew more about you? You can answer that IC or OC.
Oh, Vesna's a very open book. She's very straightforward. She generally speaking means what she says, and she just kind of loves the law and doing things politically properly. She's really boring.
Nice. Are there any things about your role you wish people would understand more?
I don't have access to infinite money, and I don't have a magic wand that can do anything that your magic wand can't do.
Damn it.
That's a good point.
On the opposite end, is there something that you wish you understood better about the citizens of Anvil and the Empire?
Ooh, I wish I understood a little bit more about how information travels. And
rumors, apparently.
Yeah. And I wish I sort of I'd like to. I'd like to go into a pub I don't normally go into and hear what the hell they talk about.
Fair. Which, speaking of like being a fiend for the lore, which is your favorite historical throne, if you have one?
Oh, Vakula.
Bakula. What nation were they from?
Ru-
No, of course. Oh,
And well, that leads us very nicely on to the next question, which is: if you had to switch nations, i.e., spear to the head, had to switch nations right now, where would you go?
Oh, is this character?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This character or any character?
Yeah.
Or any character.
Oh, okay. What nation that I think the nation that I think Vesna would be best suited to is probably the Marchers or High Guard. A nation I'd like to play in is the League.
Incorrect. The correct answer was Dawn.
It wasn't. It was Navarre. We all knew it was Navarre. Get in the comments.
So, what is the most unexpected element of being Empress? Empress, the throne. What didn't you see coming when you signed up for the role?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Sorry, I'm going to take a minute to think about it.
It's all right.
I wasn't expecting how much I'd enjoy the other bodies of state. I came into it from a Senate background. I wasn't expecting how much I'd enjoy being a general. I got a real fix for it. And the thing that it was a bit sad is I really thought I would have more time to just hang out in Varushka, but I don't. And that's okay, but it's sad because I miss Varushka. It has lovely camp life.
I mean, surely as the throne, you could just move the tent that you use into Varushka.
Oh, the Imperial office. It was right next to my group tent last event.
Oh,
nice.
pretty handy, yeah. Just have all your meetings in Varushka.
Just move the tent there. It's fine.
Okay, next question. What special things, if any, come in your player pack?
Nothing really. I get my declaration of candidacy, because the throne has a declaration of candidacy, and that's a conclave declaration. That's a bit of paper. I get a reminder that I have the imperial crown and I'm looking after it, and don't lose it. And that's about it. Sometimes I get plot through. Last event I got a spooky letter. But most of the time, just my resources and my passport. And please don't lose our big crown fizz wrap.
Nice.
It's on my coffee table.
Oh, lovely. Was there a moment in the tourney where you didn't think your side would win, and you thought my side would win because I was on the opposite side?
Multiple times. I really thought so. So I went into it I got really nervous multiple times throughout the event, thinking I was like, oh, we're gonna lose and it's gonna be really embarrassing, and then that's gonna be Dawn. That's gonna be that. Multiple times throughout the event, I thought we were definitely gonna lose and that no one would show up. When the fighting started, it looked a bit dicey to start with, but I think once towards the middle and end, I felt like my guys were being pretty aggressive, and I slipped into a state of not total confidence, but a bit of confidence.
I mean, I have my own opinions, but we're going to not.
Oh no! No, let's go. No. Let's go.
Okay. I think we're not going to say non-Vesna side, because my argument,
we called it Ron. Reopen nominations.
Yes. My personal opinion was it needs to be a challenge. Vesna might actually be worthy, but she needs to show her glory. I think we hit the Manticore way too hard, and your guys didn't as much. And then we basically got wiped out by we got slowed down by the Manticore, and then when it became a 1v1,
excuses,
we got fucked over.
Let's move on.
I couldn't see very well because it
became
sort of a big
most of the audience.
Yeah, I couldn't see very well, and I wasn't commanding the team, so I'm not gonna refute.
This is
your
entirely
lived experience.
This is entirely icy opinion. It is not a fact. I don't know what happened.
You can clearly see why you do well at politics. That was
Yeah,
such a good answer. That was. I mean, I couldn't see. I don't want to dispute. That was so good.
But all I'm saying is, like, you know, everyone made the choices they made.
Things
get
wind up the
good,
way they
man.
do.
That's just-
You know, and if you guys made that choice and it didn't work out for you, maybe
Damn.
so.
Speaking
Maybe
of
so.
the way things turned out, we'll drag this along tooth and nail if we have to.
Yeah.
Speaking of the way things turned out, it's not you. Speaking
me.
of the way things turned out, if the Manticore had won, what was your plan? If you're free to share.
Ooh,
Panic.
yeah, but no, well, so the National Assembly had an opportunity to sort of basically trigger a Dornish civil war about it.
Yeah.
We'd then, I think, have to see what that looked like, but I think it would have been a subsequent imperial address, basically trying to rally people back. Don't know how well that would have worked. Vesna's big thing is sort of small U unity amongst the 10 nations, sort of being inextricable. So I think it would have been desperately pull every single lever to try and prevent civil war in as much as possible. But it wouldn't have been like it would. We have a case study for if a subsection of a nation rebels. Like there were some spiral rebels, and that's been very contentious. So I'm not going to get into that too much. But the way that worked was there was a sort of there's an enclave of formerly Urizeni, well, they would identify as Urizeni, living in an enclave in Spiral. And I think that's potentially the case study, if not playing it exactly, because those rebels don't have like a mental manticore who wants to do war.
Cool. Okay, next question. We'll pull away from the manticore talk. What are your in-game skills, i.e. priest, mage, artisan, and does the throne get any additional skills?
No, the throne does not get any additional skills. I get the same number of XP as everybody else. There are no special skills. She's a physic. Is the main one. She's a spring mage. Not an amazing one, but she's a spring mage and a physic, and those are sort of her two things. For a really long time, she was a battle physic, and that was like her main job.
Wow. We did sort of know that you had some sort of physic or some capabilities because somebody in our lands did get heal value after they got shot in the balls.
Nice.
I didn't know they got shot.
Not naming names, but
there's a photo on the physicking page of Vesna resetting Aramis Dufrost's dislocated arm, and it looks like I'm doing judo on him.
Nice.
Yeah. She has terrible
Love
bedside manner.
What does the Emperor do in their downtime?
Like between events?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got a military unit, and I'm upgrading that soon, which is very cool. But she normally just follows the Gurdon around, which is
okay.
Yeah. She normally just follows the Gurdon around. I have a couple of like headcanons of like the various houses that she has. Like she has offices in Karov and offices in Ossium, and then some offices in Highguard, and mostly just sort of hangs around. Sometimes I write letters, but I'm really bad at writing letters. Really bad at it.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I have an open inbox, and I get quite a few letters.
Yeah,
and I read all of them, and I do not reply to many because
and they're very good at keeping the fire going.
No, I always read all of them, but I'm just really terrible at replying because I'm always so busy.
I mean, to be fair, I've said to these guys a couple of times. Between E1 and E2, I sent 34 letters. I got 8 replies. Good times. So we've already talked about how, like, at the event, you don't have as much free time as you like, so you might not have an opinion on this, but if you do, in your opinion, which nation produces the best smut? I told you, a very serious question.
I don't really read smut. I don't think I've ever read any smut.
Really? Some of it's hilarious.
I'm so sorry. I've lost touch.
You've heard it here first, guys. If you want to send anything to the Emperor, to the
throne,
don't.
Don't. Please don't.
Don't actually. Don't, please.
No, I'm so sorry. I'm not qualified to answer that question because
enough.
I don't.
Again, the very political answer there.
Not qualified.
And we asked you before, but just again, which is the best bar in the nation? In the Empire, sorry. In the nation?
Ginspirations by the House of the Wanderer in Urizen. They're the best.
But possibly invite only.
Which was your favorite Manticore football chant that they were doing?
Oh, I liked the all of the "Where is the Manticore?" I thought that really kept spirits up when we were all like waiting for the Manticore to show up.
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh, brilliant. It's more of an icy question, but which virtue do you most align with, do you think?
Vesna is dedicated to prosperity.
Oh,
I would have said loyalty, but okay.
No, I mean, very good one for the Empire. You hope the Empire to keep making money.
It's the Empress of the Hearth thing. She's very passionate about everybody sort of having a home and sort of living well.
Yeah. Okay, no, I like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Of all the councils you attend, which is your favorite and why?
Senate. Senate.
Easy
I love
answer.
all of my children equally, but Senate is my favorite.
You're my favorite.
Senate's the best. Senate's the best body of state in the game because it's so many different things moving all the time. There's so much energy in the room when there's a contentious vote. Loads of speeches. Love giving a speech. And it just covers such a broad topic, and there's like space for backroom deals, but also sort of space for showboating, and there's space to get into really niche constitutional debates. It's the best one. I'm really into military council. I've really enjoyed military council.
How many of the MC meetings do you attend?
I try to at least show my face for all of them. I don't normally make it to Sunday because military council clashes with everything.
Yeah.
All the bodies of state clash with each other. They're all running at the same time. So I try to get to muster. I can normally get to most of Saturday afternoon. And then I go to a couple of unofficial strategies.
Interesting.
Okay. Next question. Which nation gives you the most headaches and why is it Dawn?
Look, we know we're the problem child. We know we're the problem child.
Me, Vesna and Dawn, they've had a rocky relationship, but like, look at us now. Look at us now.
Look where we are.
Who'd have thought?
Well, that leads us very nicely onto the next question.
This may be this may be the one question you might, when we're writing this, like, this might be the one you pass on. Why didn't
this is the one that caused the 20-minute argument in my group chat, by the way.
Yeah. Why didn't you want to become the Monarch of Dawn until the Manticore turned up?
Okay, so this is I'm gonna sort of give some icy reason because Vesna's been quite open about it.
Yeah.
So like a year ago, things in Dawn were contentious,
rocky,
and there was some literal sort of PD enforced factionalism, and sort of unintentionally, Vesna very much became associated with one side of that. And I think her thought process was, for that entire year, it was all very fresh. And she was like, well, if I run for Monarch of Dawn,
it's going to look like I'm picking one side.
It's going to become... her thought process was, this is going to become a proxy war for that. It's going to become a proxy war for the Barons incidents, various, and she could sort of see that it was calming down, and she was like, I don't want to pour gasoline on a situation that is sort of coming to a it's sort of bubbling off. I don't want to exacerbate that. And she was also, she's not neither she nor I are dumb, and she was aware that there were people in Dawn who, because of that and potentially for other reasons, just sort of didn't think much of her. And she was like, well, I'm not gonna, like, I don't think they want me. For various reasons. I think it will put gasoline on a very contentious situation, and also I don't think they want me, so I'm not going to go for it. And I think it was always something that I and she thought that they were going to do at some point down the line, but just the timing hadn't presented itself. And then there was a big monster, and Vesna's Varushkin, and she's a warden. And she looked at the manticore and she was like, that's a sovereign, which is sort of a trying to find a way to, like, it's like a very big, very powerful monster in Varushka.
It's one of the Varushkin sort of like tiers of monster, isn't it?
That holds a lot of power. And she looked at the manticore and she was like, that's a sovereign. And there was sort of a moment with her where she was like, how, like, I am the Empress and I am a warden, and sort of at this point, how can I call myself either if I don't deal with this situation that's come up? Like, it was the manticore situation was very, very sort of peak Vesna bait, because it was like, do you want to be a warden or not? And she sort of got to a point where she was like, well, I have to I have to rise to this, otherwise, like, how I'm not being true to myself. So it is true that did sort of force her hand, but it didn't. Yeah. It wasn't sort of the first time she'd ever thought about, like, and it's not. I don't think it's the case that she was never going to run if it didn't happen. It was just a case of she was quite enjoying the fact that Dawn seemed to have.
They rallied behind a new fucking thing.
Yeah, Dawn had seemed to, like, a lot of the contention in Dawn had sort of settled, and she didn't want to poke it again.
Very fair. Yeah. I mean, yes, Dawn would never go off on the slightest provocation about anything. Never.
Again, flashback to the conversation where a lot of angry Dawnish people were looking at Vesna at the Glory Square. Yeah. That was a fun event, though. Probably less for you.
I was fine.
Oh, yeah.
I was all right. I did great. It was okay. Like, no skin off. It was no skin off my nose. But I know that not everyone had fun, and I don't want to.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, this kind of fits into it. What is it like being the Empress from an OC point of view? Is it stressful? Does it put you under a lot of pressure? Is it a bit overwhelming at times?
Yeah, it feels a little bit like being. It can sometimes feel a little bit like you're constantly observed. Is the weird thing. Both on the field and also kind of like in online spaces. Like your everything that you say and do is it is sort of being watched, and that can be quite a lot. And so it means you have to be very on all the time. But I kind of describe it as like, it's a bit like writing my university dissertation, in that it's stressful and horrible, but very rewarding. And yeah, from an OC perspective, it can be stressful, and it can put you in difficult positions. And there is a lot of pressure, especially because sort of you do have a lot of sway over people's games. And you don't, like, your character might have an opinion on something, but you don't want to, like, if someone spent several events organizing something and then it gets to the Senate, you don't want to be the person who, like, on an OC level vetoes it and then, ruins that for them. And, taking an army and ousting a general doesn't feel great on an OC level. It feels bad, but, it's part of the game.
Yeah.
Next question, and it's quite a fun one. Do you ever find yourself OC in a position where somebody might potentially talk down to you, and in your head you ask, "I'm a fucking emperor. How dare you?"
I'm in that position. I see all the time. I had someone try and explain my powers back to me once, and I had to go, "They're my powers. I know how they work." Yeah, all the time. But you sort of just gotta write it out.
When you're
Know
talking
that you
to
know what you're talking about.
talking to your boss, your local MP, and being like, "I'm a higher rank than you. You fucking watch yourself."
Yeah.
Amazing. So this is a very silly question. Like I said, we put these out to a bunch of different groups of people we know. This comes in from one of our friends. What's the circumference of your head, and what color would you like your flower crown to be? This is specifically from Dahlia Ashsong, who completely forgot to message you and ask you that. You don't have to give us that answer right now. We can do that after the call.
Yeah, I think I don't know the circumference of my head off by heart, I'm afraid, but I can measure it if they want.
It's just really nice flower crowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, we were literally just like, hey, we're putting out questions to the Thrones. Does anyone have a question? And Dahlia was like, well, I meant to send this one to them already, but just while you're talking to them. Amazing.
Next is me. There's another very important question. Why don't you wear the brass pin the Magpies gave you?
Oh, silence. A pin drops so loud the audience
like
can
it.
hear
Not
it.
the brass pin, clearly.
It feels like... so I've never been to a magpie meeting, so it would feel like stolen valor.
That's a very diplomatic answer. Good one.
Cool. So, next question. Since becoming the throne, have you ever missed a summit? If so, do you have a specific proxy, or what is the procedure for if you miss a summit? Is there a level hierarchy as to who steps up, or is it just like a group of people that cover?
I've never missed a summit, and the throne is not allowed a proxy.
Damn.
They're prohibited from having a proxy. So if I'm not there, there just isn't a throne. The exception is I'm allowed to make imperial favors, but I can only have one imperial favor in existence at one time, and it only allows a single use of one power. So, for example, if I could maybe have a blank one made for emergencies, or one and give it to someone specific. That is maybe what I do, just in the event that something mental happens.
Is there like workarounds where you could, like, knowing what could happen, what might happen, what could be talking points, you could write a load of IC letters and distribute them before the event so that people have your wishes to carry out, kind of thing?
So before every event, I write a cabinet dossier. That's normally about between 10 and 14 pages, which is all of my policy lines for the summit. And I give those to the members of Vesna's cabinet. So they always have copies of Vesna's thoughts and what the official line and the official policy is. So I probably do something like that, but maybe a bit more detailed if I'm not going to be there to talk to them about it in person.
That's mad to me. Like, somebody invites you to a wedding, it's like, sorry, I've got to go and play pretend as emperor, I can't make it. Like, that's crazy.
I think I would go to someone's wedding. Like, I'm not opposed to missing one, but I haven't.
I haven't had a need to. That's mad.
Yeah, I haven't needed to, luckily.
Oh, amazing. So, is there? We talked before about, obviously, your big drive has been to eradicate the Druge, but is there like a specific achievement that you could, achieve that would make you turn around and say, "That's it. I'm stepping down as throne. I'm not going to top that."
So there's a different sort of IC and OC. Like, Vesna's never going to step down.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, if Vesna had her way, she'd be going until she was, like, in her, 70s. She'd do it till she was dead. Rosa's not going to do that. Rosa will get tired. And, I don't want to say that I'm definitely, like, I'm not going to say that I'm definitely going to quit after X thing, but I think I'm keeping my eye out for when I've for when I've hit my peak, because you don't want to hang around too long after you've hit your peak.
Yeah, you don't necessarily try again. You don't necessarily know what it is, but there's going to be a point you're like, yeah, this is the best Vesna is going to do as a character.
Yeah, like, because you want to go out on a high where everyone thinks you're great, and you don't want to get bogged down in, like, you don't want to, like, hit that high and then, because people have really short memories, really short memories, and you don't then want to go out on, and then Vesna did this administrative thing which made the production of mana more efficient. Like, And that's great.
Or
right?
better
That's
better yet, a year down the line, and somehow the Druge returns.
Yeah.
Vesna retires.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, last question. Have we done enough here to warrant an IC boon / favor from you?
Well, you want 3 thrones, Finny? Was that it?
Yes, 3 thrones.
How damn you, Loch Ness Monster!
Oh, that was fucking
The best part is
well
that's callback to a joke we made before we started recording.
Oh, brilliant.
You want 3 thrones? You want like 3 thrones, 2 crowns each?
I mean, just
I
a
will
royal
take it,
favor
yeah.
that we can call in.
Yeah, one of them like blank royal favors that we can just do whatever with.
You know what I mean? Like an IOU. Do what you want. You get one free pass.
You guys all seem so great, but I'm not giving any of you the ability to declare war.
How about
What about
one
a
free
really
murder?
small one?
What about
Just
one
a
free
tiny
murder
one.
each? Just
Well,
one free murder.
I can't. I mean, I can give clemency, but I can't let people get away with crimes.
No.
That's another myth. I can't like wipe people's crimes away.
But you can give clemency.
But I can give clemency. Yeah.
So one
Good
murder
to know.
clemency each. That's all we're asking.
What if there's gun murder?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can have 3 thrones 50, and that's
What I'm hearing, Rosa,
guys,
is
it's recorded.
what I'm hearing is yes is the answer to the IC boon or favor. We just need to hash out what that is.
yeah. Well, you
Right,
like haggle, you know.
Yeah. We'll workshop what that is.
We'll do that after the call. That's thank you so much for doing that with us. I think that's a lot of the questions we had sent in. Like I say, we did take out some of the clearly joke ones, so I appreciate you taking the time to answer some of your citizens' most pressing questions. But that's it. I think now is the time to get to the most important part of this interview recording, which is your favorite tale from Anvil.
So I'm gonna sort of try and tell the story of like how the election went.
Please do.
And obviously, I am again going to give like the caveat that if you ask another person who was there, that they'll have a different account of things.
Yeah.
But it was the night before Sunday, and a throne vote had been called, and everyone was there was a lot of buzzing, sort of in the air, and all of the throne candidates were sort of talking to each other, and we were in Gin Palace, which was in the Brass Coast, which was the old place where all the senators and busybodies used to hang out. And, you know, I was talking to some of these throne candidates, and I felt very sort of intimidated because I was like, I'm the new kid on the block. Like, I've not, like, done... You know, I've not run before. I'm totally like kind of untested. Nobody has a good like bearing of how well I'm gonna do. And at that point, I knew I had 11 votes guaranteed out of the 23 that I needed. So I knew I was like strong, and I knew I was coming in strong. But we were having those conversations, and my partner plays a senator, and he wasn't going to vote for me initially. Because we agreed OC to keep it separate, because they're not dating IC, and you know, he and I had a sit down and a chat, and I could see him doing this thing that he does, which he calls his mind palace. So he plays Cesare Rezia, who is the longest running senator in the game. He's very good. He's been doing it this is his 11th year as senator for Tasato. And I could see him like do that thing he does where like all the pieces are in front of him in his brain and it's all just pinging, and his eyes are rolling back in his head.
Starts speaking in tongues and shaking violently.
Yeah, he starts rolling around on the floor. And we're negotiating. And he's backing another throne candidate at the time. He's backing Beaumont Durandal, who's played by another good friend of mine. And I was trying to get them both to back down and join. And after much negotiation, in the back room of Gin Palace, and we can see all the other senators and a couple of people who are from other throne candidates' camps, like just sort of giving us the side eye. And by the end of it, they were like, okay, let's do it. We stay up till 4 a.m. scheming. By 11 o'clock on Saturday, we've got a ton of different, like, I didn't know it at the time, but very last minute meetings with some of the senators I hadn't spoken to, who were sort of marginal, set up. And so I'm spending the entire morning just chatting to senators. I make a last ditch effort with the marchers. I talk to a lot of the senators in the league. A couple of senators at the time got upset that I didn't speak to them, and I was like, look, I was not doing this very long, and you were very publicly declared for another candidate. So I was like, I was going to get to you at a certain point, but like, I thought I'd have another year at this. Like, I thought I'd be doing this for another year and I'd have time to talk to you, but I didn't. Sorry.
Ultimately, I didn't need your help. I can say
wouldn't,
it.
I wouldn't put it that way. But we spend the morning hustling, and then it's Senate, and it's the first thing on the docket. And I'm like, I've done all I can. And the senator that I got to nominate me was Raina Shardbearer, senator for Calavesa. And she goes, I nominate Vesna Bukovna Prognost. And John of Mead, who is a speaker for Senate, who I've been in Senate with now for like 2 years, goes, yeah, and whoever that is. and I get up and I go, oh, Ossium. Because I don't know if you're familiar with this. In Senate, John of Mead will never call you by your name. He will call you by your territory. And Raina, who's a Wintermarker, gets very upset about this, and she goes, a hero has a name. And John of Mead goes, yes, and her name is Ossium.
Amazing.
And we settle in, and everybody does their speech. And I am going to pat myself on the back. I'm quite a good public speaker. I like to think. I did debate for a good few years. Theatre kid background. And I give this speech, and it feels like the best speech I've ever given in my life. Like, it feels amazing. And as I conclude the speech, there's this huge crack of thunder outside. And it just feels very tingly. And then the vote begins. And I've got my base of 11. A couple of candidates on the side get eliminated. Now, the way it works is, if no one wins, senators can move and change their vote. And that continues until no one moves.
Also, it's sort of like
proportional representation.
Yeah, sort of like proportional representation, except like you can change it as the vote happens.
Yeah. So, but what this means is, as the vote is happening, everybody is shouting. There are negotiations going on between the lines. There's roars from the crowd. There's so much pressure in that room. It's like it's like Wall Street. It's nuts. And I'm there, and my best friend, my best friend Lelius is right in front of me, and she was the senator for Morrow at the time, and she and I are just like gripping each other's arms. And then there's movement, and someone moves out of one candidate's line, someone moves out of another. Things are going on. Momentum builds. Candidates keep getting knocked out till there's just 3 of us left. And it occurs to me at the final vote count that I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm in second place. I didn't think in my wildest dreams I'd be in like a close second place. This is insane. And then all at once, all 4 of the Marcher senators move. And suddenly I've not won, but I'm the front runner. And I'm just gripping my friend Izzy's arms. Like, there's a very good picture of it where I'm just like, For the audio recording, I'm pulling a really bizarre face.
Oh no, it's on YouTube as well. People will see the face.
Oh, good. If you
Excellent.
to our audio listeners, do you want to see the face? Go to the YouTube.
Yeah. And it becomes apparent that like we're like, this has been so many rounds of voting, and there's one of the Navarre senators who every single round has moved, and there have been some rounds of voting where he's been the only one moving. And that means he's been keeping that throne race going for several rounds. John of Mead spots this and tells him to stop. We hit a point where I am one senator off winning. Now I've got my guys in the middle, they're yelling at either side. They're like, we can end this now, we could make history, we could do this. And there's a Brass Coast senator who goes up to the candidate that she's been sworn to for like 2 years and goes, do you release me from my contract? And they do. They then go to the other throne candidate on the opposite side of me, hand them a pouch of coins, and go, I know you bought my second vote, but here's the money back. And they get in line.
Damn.
John of Mead then goes, the senator for Ossium has 22 votes, and the entire crowd goes, ah. And then he goes, but counting herself, she has 23. Because I was a senator at the time. And the whole room goes nuts. And as he announces it, there is a second clap of thunder. And I barely hear this because there's so much blood in my ears, but other people keep, like, I have been reliably informed by multiple people that there was a second organic clap of thunder at both of those two very poignant times.
Amazing.
And the whole
even nature
room,
wanted it to happen.
Yeah. And then, the whole room goes nuts. Vesna's in-character dad, Belikov, appears because it was announced in various points in Anvil, and I think physically rugby tackles multiple people out of the way to get to her, and then I'm just like hysterical for the rest of the rest of the event, which is not very long. And then I have to sit through Senate, and I have to sit through an hour of Senate. They're like, we are talking about reallocating this historical research appraisal to this other title, and I'm just like, shut up!
Don't you know I'm the boss?
This is the best day of my life. And we get back to Varushka, and there's people love a sword arch. There's a sword arch, and several children come up to me, and it's wonderful. And then it's time out.
Oh, just that drop.
And then it's time out, and then it's the longest, not the longest, but then there's the long dark.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and then my mum comes to pick me up because she lives nearby, and she's like, what the f*** has just happened? She's like, why is everyone coming up to you? We need to go. Pack up your tent.
Get your shit in the car.
Get in the car. But yeah, I don't know how it sort of, I hope that that's sort of an insight into what the room is like, because it's very, very intense. Like those
I can imagine.
Me and Roz, when Throne Race 3 comes along, me and Roz, the player of Elizabeth, are just going to be in the background eating popcorn and placing bets.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it's so nuts, and it's so high. Like, it's one of the most high intensity things I've ever done.
You've kind of sold me on maybe becoming a senator one day, because that sounds so fucking fun.
Yeah, Senate is the best.
Yeah, military council for me.
Yeah.
No.
Well, look,
military council's great, but Senate's the best.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that tale with us. One, I don't think none of the three of us go to Senate. We are so far away from that side of the game that hearing something like that and your lived experience, and only even the parts where you've kept in the fact that you were, for want of a better phrase, shitting yourself, holding on to your friend, going, what is happening? It just makes it so much more real.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. But that does draw this episode to a close. So thank you very, very much for coming on and being part of our little show here. It's been really nice having you on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Is there anything that you personally would like to plug or talk about before signing off? Or point people to find you online if that's what you want?
I don't know if I do stand-up comedy. I'm a stand-up comic. I haven't I post about any gigs I'm doing on it's Rosa Tells Jokes on Instagram.
Follow that now.
So if you want to check
are you aware are you aware there's a stand-up thing being held in the Imperial Orc camp at E3?
I am aware of it.
Is Vesna going to participate?
No, I don't think
so funny.
I don't think you can do stand-up at Empire. But I don't think you can do good stand-up at Empire. That's my theory. Because I think it requires it requires too many subconscious cultural touchstones. But I'm ready to be proven wrong.
To be fair, from having seen the advert for it, I think their hope is that most people are going to bomb, because it sounds like half the fun is going to be how people react to being punished for bombing.
I'm not going to go up there. I'm not going to go and bomb at a stand-up comedy gig. I'll lose all credibility. I'll have to resign.
So it's been great having you on. I've been Cian. You can find me on all on social medias, mostly doing Tales of Anvil stuff. You can also find me on the Emerald Collective, where every second week I play Arthur Kane, who is a dickhead.
I've been Jordan. You can find me at Always Ready to Roll GM on Instagram and TikTok, where I'm posting a lot more of my LARP stuff, as well as being the DM and producer-editor of the Modified Role podcast, which is on a bit of a hiatus at the minute just because of some life that's happening with various members of the cast. But we're still out there, and we will be putting more episodes out soon-ish.
And I'm Dan. You can also find me. If you try hard enough, I'm an elusive bastard. But that's everything we've got time for this week. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff and click all the buttons below. Rosa, thank you again very much for coming on. Is there anything you want to say to sign us off?
Sorry, I'm useless at this. Thank you very much for having me. No, it's been lovely.
I'm also going to point out that's the first time we've thrown that to a guest, so don't feel like you're put on the spot.
Nobody said that the quickfire questions had to end at the quickfire question bit. So, but that's it. That's all I've got time for. Thanks very much for tuning in. We will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
Come on.